All was well as President Yoweri Museveni made his State of Nation address. Opposition MPs listened to what plans the president had for the country, but with their minds apparently focused on what he would say about the war on corruption. And to let him know their expectations, they kept shouting out names of top government officials named in corruption.
Oh, Temanga,
and the
but
name
the
of
hands
Prime
are there.
Minister John Patrick Amama Mbabazi featured prominently.
Temanga, you mean Mbabazi?
Mbabazi was mentioned in the NSSF Temanga land scandal and in the mismanagement of Chogam funds. Even when the opposition sought to preempt the president to speak against Mbabazi, he instead praised him as a good NRM cadre.
Mbabazi is a good NRM cadre for a long time. If some of you can last as long as Mbabazi has lasted, it will be a good achievement.
Nevertheless, the president spoke tough on how he would handle corruption.
The NRM government's commitment to zero tolerance of corruption remains strong and resolute.
This angered opposition MPs who walked out in protest in one file, at the top of which was the leader of opposition, Nandala Mafabi.
The following achievements in fighting corruption are brought to your attention.
Writers who are not stealing public resources and leaving those who are stealing public resources, whom he's handling with soft gloves. He talked of Amama as one of his best cadres, you can imagine. And those are the reasons why we have left.
So what are you going to do next?
What's the way forward?
No, we have demonstrated to him that what he has done on corruption is dealing with it with soft hands. So we cannot agree.
Ministers are corrupt. He's very selective in prosecuting people. For example, he has taken on Professor Bukenya, he has abandoned Amama Mbabazi, then yet he has the audacity to come in front of Parliament and tell the whole nation that actually Amama Mbabazi is a good cadre. So a good cadre who is corrupt, if you are good, if you are corrupt but good to President Yoweri Museveni, then it's okay. But if you are corrupt and not good to his government, then you become the problem. And we think we cannot be party to all this.
The government has been corrupt, and he has never done anything against the corrupt people. And when he talks of corruption that is going to 100, we saw that he was just praying about the whole issue, and we walked out because of that.
You know, we agreed that we must go and listen to Mr. Museveni, okay? And this is what we did all the time. Although we knew all the time he was not necessarily telling us the actual truth, right? But we kept our balance as civilized people. But when it came to him standing boldly to say that there is no problem with his good cadres, even if we suspected them to have been corrupt, it became too much.
The leadership code.
New Information Minister Mary Karol Okorot condemned the opposition's behavior.
He has been walking the talk, but for them to walk out in Parliament, if you oppose, you should stand on the floor of Parliament and oppose. But to walk out, that is very, very undemocratic. And we suspect that they are playing to the gallery.
Meanwhile, NRM MPs and some independents had mixed reactions on the State of Nation address.
The issue where the president now finally considered having fuel reserves, saying that we are going to build them as well as building the railway. At one time, they were not priority, but now they are priority, as well as seeing how we increase payment for the public service so that we can retain them, not running to the private sector.
He has talked about corruption, he has talked about hospitals, healthcare. To me, healthcare is one of the most important things. We need a lot more. So let's see these ones executed.
I think the State of the Nation address has been so good because as far as I'm concerned, my people in Buwekula constituency, 80% are agriculturists. And is handled the agro-production initiative so well. Because first of all, we've been in this long drought whereby our people have been suffering.
The Nation address was very comprehensive. It touched a number of issues ranging from social sector, health, education, water, roads. But I think what we now need to move on as a parliament and as a government is translate the figures we get in billions and in GDP of 16% into real action. Our people need to see this. We must not think of 16% GDP, 9.1% GDP, when actually the per capita income of every individual out there is low.
Later in Parliament, the MPs will debate at length the president's speech. Agnes Nandutu, NTV, Srina Conference Center.